The laughter started before she even finished tying her belt. It wasn't loud at first, just a few snickers drifting across the training room like dust in sunlight. But it carried the sharp edge of judgment, the kind that doesn't ask who you are or where you've been, the kind that decides instantly that you don't belong. Her name was Maya Torres, and this was her first day. The gym was an old brick building tucked between a diner and a closed-down hardware store somewhere in coastal California. The walls were lined with faded flags, cracked mirrors, and framed photos of past tournaments. Most of the students were men, confident, muscular, loud. They had been coming here for years. This place was their territory. Maya stood out the moment she walked in. She was smaller than most of them, not fragile, but compact. Her dark hair was pulled back tight, her face calm, unreadable. She wore a plain gray hoodie over her training uniform and moved with quiet efficiency. No swagger, no announcements. When she slipped off the hoodie and revealed the black belt tied neatly at her waist, the room changed. One man let out a short laugh. Another shook his head. Someone muttered, "That's cute." The instructor, a graying former competitor named Rick, raised an eyebrow but said nothing. He had learned long ago that assumptions were dangerous things. Still, even he studied her with curiosity. Black belts didn't come through often, and when they did, they usually arrived with stories, confidence, and noise. Maya brought none of that. As warm-ups began, the comments grew bolder. "Must have bought that belt online. Probably took a weekend seminar. Hey, sweetheart, don't hurt yourself." Maya heard every word. She always did. Years of training had sharpened her awareness far beyond the physical. But she didn't react. She stretched. She breathed. She waited. Rick paired students for drills, intentionally placing Maya with one of the more experienced men, a broad-shouldered guy named Cole who had been training there for nearly a decade. Cole smirked as they bowed to each other. "Don't worry," he said lightly. "I'll go easy." Maya met his eyes. There was no challenge there, no anger, just a steady calm that unsettled him more than defiance would have. "Thank you," she replied. "I appreciate that." They began slowly. Controlled movements, basic techniques. Maya matched him step for step. When Cole increased speed, she adjusted effortlessly. When he applied pressure, she redirected it without force. Each motion was precise, economical, almost gentle. The smirk faded. Across the room, others started to notice. Rick called for light sparring. Protective gear was handed out. Cole hesitated, then shrugged it on. "You sure?" he asked. "We can skip if you want." Maya shook her head. "I'm sure." The match lasted less than a minute. Maya never struck hard. She didn't need to. Every attempt Cole made was anticipated, countered, neutralized. She moved like water, yielding, flowing, guiding. At one point, she had him on the mat, immobilized, his arm locked in a position that could have caused real damage if she chose. She didn't choose it. She released him and stepped back, offering a hand. Cole stared up at her, breathless, stunned. He took her hand and stood, cheeks flushed, not with anger, but with something closer to awe. The room was silent. No one laughed anymore. Rick cleared his throat. "All right," he said slowly. "Good work. Switch partners." The rest of the session passed differently. The jokes stopped. The looks changed. People watched Maya now, not with mockery, but with curiosity and something else they didn't quite recognize yet. Respect, perhaps, or uncertainty. After class, as students packed up, a few approached her cautiously. "How long you been training?" someone asked. "Long time," Maya answered. "Where'd you get your belt?" She paused, considering. "Earned it." That was all she said. Over the next few weeks, Maya became a regular presence. She arrived early. She stayed late. She helped clean mats without being asked. She offered quiet advice to beginners, encouragement to those struggling. She never bragged, never corrected unless invited. Slowly, the gym softened around her. People started opening up. Complaints about work, about injuries, about life. Maya listened more than she spoke. When she did speak, her words were measured, thoughtful, often surprising in their kindness. No one asked about her past. No one pressed. Until one night, everything changed. It happened outside the gym, in the parking lot, after a late session. Rain slicked the pavement, reflecting the glow of streetlights. Maya was locking her car when she heard raised voices. Two men stood near the entrance, arguing with a teenage boy. The kid couldn't have been more than 16. His hoodie was torn, his hands shaking as he clutched a gym bag to his chest. "You think you can just walk in here?" one of the men snapped. "Think you belong?" The boy stammered. I just wanted to watch. I didn't mean." Maya stepped forward. "Hey," she said calmly. "What's going on?" One of the men turned. "This doesn't concern you." "It does now," Maya replied. Her voice wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. Rick emerged from the gym behind her, taking in the scene. The men backed off with muttered excuses and left. The boy stood frozen. "You okay?" Maya asked. He nodded quickly, wiping his eyes. "Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. I didn't mean trouble." Maya shook her head. "You didn't cause any." She offered him a ride home. He hesitated, then accepted. In the car, the boy told her his story in fragments. His name was Luis. His mother worked nights. He had wandered into the gym because he wanted to learn to defend himself. He had been bullied at school. He didn't have money for classes. Maya listened. The next day, she spoke to Rick. A week later, Luis started training. On a scholarship the gym had quietly created. No one knew who funded it. Maya never said. Months passed. The gym flourished. There was more laughter now. But it was different. Lighter. Kinder. People checked on each other. The atmosphere shifted from competition to community. Still, questions lingered. One evening, after an intense training session, Rick finally asked. "Maya," he said, leaning against the wall, "I've trained fighters for 30 years. I know skill when I see it. What you have, it's more than martial arts. Where did you learn to move like that?" Maya took a long breath. "I served," she said. "Military?" "Yes." Rick nodded slowly. "Special forces?" Maya didn't answer right away. Cole, sitting nearby, looked up. "You don't have to say." Maya smiled faintly. "It's all right." She met their eyes. "I was a Navy SEAL." The room went still. Not with shock this time, with understanding. Suddenly, everything made sense. The discipline, the restraint, the quiet confidence, the way she de-escalated instead of dominated, the way she cared. "You never said anything," Rick murmured. Maya shrugged. "It's not who I am now. It's something I did." Cole exhaled a short laugh. "We mocked you." "Yes," Maya agreed gently. "Aren't you angry?" someone asked. She shook her head. No. I've learned that people often laugh when they're afraid, or insecure, or hurting. I've done worse things in my life than listen to laughter. Silence settled. Not awkward, but heavy with reflection. Over time, pieces of whose story emerged, never in full, never dramatic. She had served overseas. She had lost friends. She had seen the cost of violence and the price of silence. She had returned home, carrying invisible weight. Training wasn't about proving strength anymore. It was about healing. 1 year later, the gym hosted a small community tournament. Families filled the stands. Kids laughed. Music played. Luis competed for the first time, his mother cheering louder than anyone. Maya watched from the sidelines. When Luis won his match, he ran straight to her, eyes shining. "I did it," he said. Maya smiled. "You did." Rick approached her, holding a small plaque. "We want to thank you," he said, "for what you've given this place." Maya looked at the plaque. It read, "Strength is protecting others." Her throat tightened. "I didn't do anything special," she said. Rick shook his head. "You changed us." Maya looked around the gym. The place that had once mocked her, now filled with warmth and respect. "No," she said softly. "You changed yourselves. I just reminded you who you could be." As the applause rose around her, Maya felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Peace. Not because people finally knew who she was, but because they had learned what truly mattered. Strength wasn't about belts or titles or fear. It was about compassion. And sometimes, the strongest thing a person can do is choose kindness, especially when the world expects something else.